Coming to theaters, the Taylor Swift Tour. Discover how radical Islam is taking over your country with all-time favorite songs.
Airplanes, buildings, concert halls. We can blow up incredible things. We might even rape your mom.
Relive the story of how the United States was overthrown by radical Islamists.
You knew we were trouble when you let us in. And then we fucked your campuses. Could have kicked us out, but you never did. Terrorists inside your country now.
Featuring performances from Ariana Grande.
I thought I was safe, probably like you do. I thought they were great. They blew up my show too. How do you not see? The best is next, the best is next.
Come see how terrorists are taking over America as we speak while your government does nothing.
Waving Hamas flags in America's streets. What you think globalize the Intifada means? They're already in your communities. Spreading to Texas, Arkansas, Carolina, 'cause your border is open like your mom's vagina.
Coming to a theater, or mall, or airplane near you. Seriously, y'all better speak up.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to A Conservative Confucius here. All right, so this is a Friday Shabbat podcast. It's we're gonna get right into it and do it. All right, so we opened up with that video, and I thought you guys would like that. And let's get down to it and do it. Though, don't forget to go down there, smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and don't forget to share this video if you guys like it. We just passed 5,000 subscribers. Make sure you guys go down there and do it. Really helps out the channel already. So what we do on Friday is we cover the kind of daily, not daily news, but just important news, what's going around. We cover the conflict in Israel, of course, a little bit, just while it's going on. We will do that every Shabbat, just because it's Shabbat, it makes sense, And if you've been here before, you know what we do. So we're going to be covering some Kamala nonsense. We're going to be covering some immigration crisis stuff and some gender nonsense. And then we'll get into the last bit, the Israeli-Palestine conflict. Alrighty, so let's get down to it and do it, guys. Here we go. So this is from Monica Crowley. This is insanity of Kamala's interviews, most recently with Oprah. It was just softball questions, and she still couldn't answer it. How does this woman have a following, and yet no one likes her? No street interviewer, except for the one out of every 20, will say, hey, yeah, I support her. And yet the majority of the black community, even in these videos, isn't supporting her. And somehow, this woman still has a base, but yet she has to put out fake casting calls for people. So let's get into it.
We are an optimistic people.
Hiccups.
We are an optimistic people. Americans, by character, are people who have dreams and ambitions and aspirations. We believe in what is possible. We believe in what can be.
Everyone believes what is possible, what can be. And it doesn't make us different because we believe, we dream, we think of things that we want to do, and we dream those things are possible. No, what makes America and Americans different is that we don't just dream about the possible and what could be. We get it done. If you have a dream in the world, if you're a dreamer, you come to America to see that dream happen. That is the difference. It has nothing to do with people dreaming about possible things and thinking of all the great things. And that's what makes Americans different, is we think differently. No, what makes America different is we have the ability to put our different thoughts into action because we live in a free country.
And we believe in fighting for that.
Everyone in the world believes in fighting for something better than themselves, to dream for the possible. It's just that governments don't allow them to do so. And if you get your way, all of these great, pretty words will mean nothing when you use your authoritarian power, which you've already proven you want to do, which we'll get into.
Came into being because the people before us understood that one of the greatest expressions for the love of our country, one of the greatest expressions of patriotism,
is what?
is to fight for the ideals of who we are. We are an optimistic
You haven't even made that
people.
clear. God, you're an idiot. Let's move on. So another one from Kamala. She gets a softball question from Harris about, how are you going to, this is the one where she gets a question from an audience member and he's like, how are you going to fix this, this, and this? And instead of answering it, she goes off into a tangent about how she worked in California and she did this and blah, blah, blah. I did this in my past. I did that in my past. And it's like, okay, great. Well, you didn't do anything recently for this problem. You had the power now. You weren't just working in California recently. You were the second leader of the country and you still didn't do anything. So if you can't do it now, why would we trust you to do it later? And instead of answering it in a way where that wasn't, in people's minds, she answers it like, oh, I was this and I was that. And then she goes on to blaming Republicans and Trump like she always does.
When you become president, what would be your specific steps? Yeah, of course. What would be specific steps to strengthening the border?
So it's a wonderful and important question. My background was as a prosecutor, and I was also the elected attorney general for 2 terms of a border state.
So
this
you were also the border czar for America. Like, are they stupid? Why isn't Kamala or Oprah saying, hey, well, you were also the border czar? Maybe if you had all this positions of power now and you didn't do anything with it, why should we trust you to get better with a higher position? Like, yeah, your weaker positions of power, you may have used them slightly better, but that was only to get your place in a better position. And then when you got into AG, you did less than you did as a prosecutor. And then when you became vice president, you did less than you did when you were in AG. Why should we think that if you become president, you won't do less than you did as a vice president, just like you did previously and before that too? Like, instead of just rambling on nonsense, tell us like policies. Like, if you compare Trump to her, Trump says straight up, like, we should close the border down. We need to make sure we have a better system in place. We need more people on the border. We need better security cameras. We need a better wall. We need to fix the gaps, blah, 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 goes on and on. And he has all of these plans where she doesn't have a single solitary plan when it comes to anything, inflation, the border, nothing. She just says we need to come together, work together. We need to fix the system. We need to do that. But how? You haven't put up one solitary idea that's actually applicable in America, other than dreams and fancy words that don't actually sound good because you sound illiterate.
This is not a theoretical issue for me. This is something I've actually worked on.
Then why aren't you
I
doing
have
it now?
prosecuted transnational criminal organizations
Then why aren't you doing it now?
for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings.
Then why are there 365,000 children missing who had crossed the border? 365. It was thought to be 320, but I actually heard numbers from the Border Patrol. 365,000 children have gone missing and are expected to be most likely in sex trafficking under the Biden regime. It was less than 10,000 during Trump's. And he rescued over 40,000 kids and caught over 16,000 sex traffickers. Biden has not caught a single damn one that I've heard about.
I take very seriously the importance of having a secure border and ensuring the safety of the American people.
Okay, but how? This guy's even like, what? Like, say something. Like, okay, I get it. Talking points. Tell me something applicable you can do to fix this problem.
Sadly, where we are now
Time to
can be traced
blame the Republicans.
most recently back to the fact that when the United States Congress, members of the Congress, including some of the most conservative Republicans, came up with a border security bill. And here's what that border...
Wrong. The border bill that was come up with was done by rhinos, Republicans only in name. They were not very conservative Republicans, maybe old school 90s and 2000s Republicans that are corporate Republicans, not the real traditional Republicans and not the modern Republican Party, which is more in line with like Reagan and other people, not this corporate Republican crap, not the uniparty bullshit. And the bill they're talking about would put 15,000 more border agents on the border. Yes, sorry, 1,500. But they need close to 60,000 more border agents to actually get the problem under control. Between 30 and 60,000 is the estimated number to get this problem actually under control and have the numbers they actually need. And they need to fix the walls, all these things. They weren't going to fix the wall with the bill. They weren't going to fill in the gaps. They weren't going to send people back. Actually, the bill made it easier for illegal immigrants to get in here. They would now be, instead, they would be told to go to a checkpoint and then released into the U.S. immediately instead of having to cross and do it that way. And it's insane. Like, the bill did not help illegal immigration. It didn't limit it. It didn't do anything that the Border Patrol wanted. They will tell you that bill was bogus.
Border security bill would have done. It would have put 1,500 more border agents at
Not
the
even
border.
close to enough.
Let me tell you, those border agents are working around the clock.
Because
it would
of
have
you.
just been about giving them some
Because you literally fired a whole bunch of them right when you guys took office.
support and relief, which is probably why the border agents actually endorsed the bill.
That's funny because the border agents didn't endorse the bill. A single border officer who was the head of it endorsed the bill. And when that same guy a week later went to talk to his agents, they booed him. And literally a Republican politician said, hey guys, I understand you don't like the bill, but let's be respectful to our superiors. That's how much they despised that bill and him. The dude no longer works for Border Patrol because of how hated he was on his views on radical policies. You can continue to lie, but you have to admit that when you do lie, people call you out on it. You cannot gaslight them into oblivion like you guys do.
It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl.
Nope,
And
it
I'm
wouldn't have
looking
done
at
anything.
people from all over the country
Because-
here. So I don't need to.
Because it wouldn't have done anything, because fentanyl doesn't come into the southern border in Texas. It comes through the open gaps in Arizona, and it's always come in through Arizona. Almost all of the drugs that come into this country, mainly all the hard drugs, weed comes in through various places, California, Texas, Arizona. But when it comes to hard drugs, 90% of it plus comes through Arizona. I know this because I live in Arizona. I am a former user of drugs. I've been clean for years. And I'm telling you right now that their policies do nothing unless they are hard. During Trump's policies, I remember, because I had friends who were still doing that crap, they said it was completely dry. I had tons of friends got sober during Trump's presidency because they had no option. It was either constantly be sick and never know when your next supply is coming, or get clean. And many of them chose to get clean. At that time, the little blue pills that are everywhere were $10 a pill because they were so hard to get. Now they are $1 to $2 at most, and maybe $5 if it's expensive, if you're getting screwed over. I work with these kids. I work with people today who are constantly bombarded with they'll try to get sober, and then how are you supposed to get sober when literally change given to you from a stranger, just $1-2, is enough to go get high? How is it when that people who want to get clean try to, but because of Biden's border policies, drugs are so cheap that they can literally go get drugs to get high with for $1 or $2. Like, what the hell?
To tell the folks who are watching this what fentanyl has done to families, to kids.
Yeah, you're right.
In
You
our
did
country,
that.
and the
Your
need to take
administration has
seriously
done that.
stemming the flow coming into our country and addressing that extraordinary and tragic issue in terms of its effect. The bill would have allowed us to have more resources to prosecute transnational criminal organizations.
Why do you need more resources? Your government spends over $1 billion an hour. Spends $1.6 billion an hour. And yet you don't have the resources to do things that'll cost less than a few $1 million to prosecute these people. It's not going to cost us billions of dollars to prosecute criminals. It'll cost us millions. But yet you can spend almost like enough money to prosecute roughly, 30,000 traffickers. And you spend more than that in 1 hour. How is it we're supposed to trust you with these bills that are filled with loads of crap? You'll have a bill this big and it'll be called the border bill. That much of it will be the border. The rest is all nonsense. Infrastructure that, abortion this, laws on this, change that, change this, abolish that. That's all bullshit. And you do it all the time. The IVF bill you guys just tried to pass, the reason Republicans stood against it, it was not because they didn't want women to have the ability to do IVF. The reason why was because you put abortion stuff in there, genetic mutating, genetic cloning, trans stuff, trying to say you should give pregnancy hormone treatments to trans people, experimental pregnancy hormone treatments to see if they could ever possibly have a baby, and then other experimental surgeries and things to see if they could ever have a fake womb inside them, which would most likely kill them because they don't have the body to do so. It's physically impossible for the male body to hold those things in it because our organs are not in the right place. You would have to move organs, which is so deadly, especially for men with how ours are situated. And yet they want to support that crap and then tell Americans, you're a bad person, you're a wrong person because your politicians you voted for and the things you stand for are against that bill. No, I'm not against IVF. I'm against gaslighting. I'm against false bills filled with bullshit. I'm against the lies and the deceit of the Democratic Party to further their own agenda by shoving it in every bill possible and then blaming the Republicans when that bill doesn't get passed because it has a nice fluffy name about a nice fluffy topic. But it's filled with the most dark and evil crap.
And it would have been part of the solution. And Donald Trump.
Look at his face. He's like,
said,
even he's like, come on, stop mentioning his name. Just rolled his eyes immediately. And it wasn't at Trump. It was at her saying Trump. You can tell. He is tired of that shit.
Don't put that bill on the floor for a vote. He blocked the bill. And you know why? Why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
That's bullshit. Black voters telling you, undecided black voters telling you who they're going to vote for and why.
Economy is better under Trump. And hands
That's
up
7 for Trump.
if you think the economy is better under Biden and Harris.
1 for Harris. So one person says the economy is better under Harris. 7 say it was better under Trump.
It's 7-1. That's pretty clear.
It's the truth. I'm not saying he's like, of course, yeah, like they're saying, has best. He still has a business mindset. I think that lended somewhat. And I think, yes, the trickle down of whatever previous stuff. And I think he just handles certain things a little better.
Who does?
Trump.
Those?
He provided more jobs.
Yep.
More opportunities. Similar. Even though he didn't have any experience in politics, but he came in and did a much better job.
You don't need a politician to run a country. You need a businessman. You need an intelligent man. And I would even say in some means, you need a psychopath. And you may, that's awful. Okay, psychopath is a term that's used to people thinking violent. That's not actually true. The word psychopath just means a person who's devoid of most emotions related to sadness or empathy. And mainly it's those two alone. And sometimes it can be others, but mainly it's a lack of empathy, depending if it's a lack of complete empathy or a semi lack of empathy. But you can be on kind of like a sociopathy spectrum. And a pure psychopath, that's going to be someone completely lacking of empathy. And if they have also tendencies to anger, they could be violent. But all of the best CEOs, businessmen, traders, salesmen, almost all of the best ones in the world are psychopaths. And I'm not saying that Trump is a psychopath. He obviously has emotion. He raised an amazing family. He kept off drugs. He taught his son how to be a good man. Obviously, he's not a psychopath. But I am saying, if you're looking at a business perspective, maybe someone who after Trump would be someone who is a businessman, someone who lacks all of that crappy, stuff you see in Democrats where they act like they have emotions and they don't. And the reason why they're not psychopaths, they are sociopaths. They lack the empathy like a psychopath because they are, but they're also quick to anger, manipulate, deceive, lie, cheat, and use people for their own benefits. That's a sociopath. They're a psychopath with extreme levels of anger that they can't control, while a violent psychopath is someone who can control their anger, but does it in a way where it's managed and usually a little bit more contemplated on. They set up their things and do their things. Sociopaths are angry and violent. They lash out, they attack, they gaslight a lot. They gaslight so much. And if you look at all the Democrats, what do? They all gaslight. All the biggest ones. And even some of the smaller ones, AOC, she gaslights a lot. All of the big mainstream news people, Joy Reid, Tiffany, whatever, Cross, all these losers, they all gaslight you. And it's to make you feel like if you don't listen to what I'm saying, not only are you a bad person and you're wrong, even though you see the truth right in front of you, if you don't do that, you're going to be shamed and treated badly and not be part of society. It's crazy.
Now, we're far more worse now than we were before.
Firstly, I just want to ask a general question about Harris. Then we're going to show some clips of the debate. What's your biggest hesitation about voting for Kamala Harris?
Just, is she going to be able to do the things that she says she's going to be able to do? That's, you know what I mean? Just, is she going to be able to do it? That's my big hesitation. Is she going to be able to get it past Congress? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Yep.
You know.
Mikhail, how about you?
Everything that glitters ain't gold.
Yeah, for sure.
It looks great on paper, but I'm not sure it could translate to politics, and if she'll even be able to get it passed.
Haywood?
My thing is her strength. That's my focus for her. You know, is she gonna be able to take a punch and give one or two back? You know, that's my biggest thing, and it has nothing to do with her gender, ladies. Okay, but you have. We talking about the highest office.
All the ladies there voting for Trump, they see them. All the ladies there voting for Trump, they see the same thing.
No, I ain't.
Yeah. If it was Michelle Obama, I would feel totally different.
Yeah. See, that's the weakness. They haven't seen how horrible Michelle Obama is, how corrupt she is. Like complaining that, like about generational wealth, the DNC. Yet you come from generational wealth. Your daughter just got $10 million from you out of a trust. That's generational wealth. You said you don't think there should be generational wealth. You are generational wealth. Your daughter has generational wealth. What are you talking about?
Yeah, You can't be weak and hold that off.
Yeah, like if you put her next to Michelle Obama, it's like,
Or Hillary Clinton.
or Hillary Clinton, it's like it's no comparison on the strength that I think Michelle Obama or Hillary Clinton would have against her. They would eat her up.
How did Harris come across then? How did she do up against him? Haywood says that, you know, big personality. How did she do? How did she come across?
She kept saying that she's a warrior, she's gonna fight, but I don't know if you're as strong as. I mean, I get it what you feel, but I don't think you are as like a warrior, like fighter, like she says she is.
Right.
That's just my opinion. Not that I don't think she doesn't care, and like I said, she used a lot of appealing to emotion, like anecdotal, like anecdotal evidence instead of like, you know, she used some facts, but just like to
Very
like
few.
appeal to people like, hey, you know, I'm just like, you know, to try to get people on her side.
That's what Democrats
I
do.
don't think the bar was set pretty high when it comes to that. When it comes to her speaking, I believe the last debate with Biden set it really low. So I believe she did a lot better than Biden. But that's pretty much what I got from them.
They're both old. Biden is old. Trump is old. We need to get some young folks in there that know.
Even Kamala is old. What we need is Vivek Ramaswamy. I love Trump, but like after Trump, it needs to be Vivek. If it's not, I'm going to be angry. I like JD, but I don't think he's a president. Like, I don't think he's president material. I think he's great support, but I think that's why I think Trump recognized that Vivek wasn't support material. He's leadership, and that's one of the reasons why he didn't want him as VP. I think. But I think he would have been still a good VP, but he's definitely president material. I think he should be the next president. Let me know in the comment, guys, what you think about that. If you think Vivek should be the next president after Trump, or let me just know who you think, who you want as the next president after Trump. All righty, guys, so we'll move on.
You know, have an idea.
Actually, yeah, let's move on from this. So here's some of the fake Astro-Turf bull crap from Kamala's rallies. busing in people from out of state. By the way, according to an investigative journalist on Twitter, he tracked the cell phones of people from rallies, and he found out that the people in the Nevada rally and the Arizona rally were also, almost majority of them were the same people who were at, was 3,507 of them were the same, had been to the, or sorry, blah, blah, blah. Let's get this right. At the Georgia rally, 3,507 people at the Georgia rally had previously been to the Arizona and Nevada rallies. Then, same thing basically at the North Carolina rally. 3,550 something, I think, were at the Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona rally, with 1,000 of them just having been, or sorry, another 1,600 having been to the Georgia rally, and only 600 to 700 of them actually living in North Carolina. That's insane. You're at a North Carolina rally hours away from Georgia, hours, and somehow the majority of the people are there from Georgia and other places in the U.S. because the people who went to the Arizona and the Nevada rallies were also bussed in, but we just don't know from other places yet. He hasn't gotten that far in his investigation. So these people are going from rally to rally to rally to rally. And if, you think, oh, why don't, she said like people leave Trump's rallies early. The people don't leave yours early because they have to take a bus home. They don't have their cars. When people go to Trump's rallies, there is a mile of a line outside. There are people tailgating. There is traffic everywhere. So when people leave 10, 20 minutes early, they're doing so they don't hit traffic so bad they don't get home for 4 hours. That's why. A Trump rally changes the traffic of an entire city for a day. A Kamala rally does nothing than fill up a parking lot with buses. See the difference? It's all just people after people after people. See, just go. Half of them look extremely unhappy and weird. You got one woman smiling in a creepy manner. They're all just, I'm here, but I don't want to be here. More white people than any other group. And you go to a Trump rally, like a third of them are black now. I wouldn't say a third. I'd say like a fifth. Whereas you got like maybe 1/20th or less. You got another one of these. You got big ass line. You got buses over here, buses over there, some tents for water, even though no one's going up to them. And yeah, it's all old people who are retired. Look at that. Old, elderly, keep going. Elderly man, elderly. One, bam, 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 bam. This is the only young looking guy in the entire line right here. That's it. Yep, more elderly. It looks like someone maybe in their 40s right here, and then all elderly. This is like a senior citizen event. Crazy. Yeah, here's some of the casting calls I mentioned right in the beginning. They're literally putting out Democrat casting calls for events so you can go and be, and you're not acting. It says singles, groups, or families. You are being cast as a real person. These who supports the Democratic Party. No acting. This will be your honest opinions. Please spread the word. This video is about freedom and how it shows up and how we dream. Yeah, so this is for a Democratic video. There's ones through for the DNC. There was some for another video. There's some offering TikTokers $10,000 per video and it's claiming that they are real Democratic supporters and not just TikTokers who are pushing a sponsored message. They have to act like they're truly Democratic now. And some of them who weren't Democratic before are literally saying, oh, she changed my mind on everything, even though it makes no sense because, 4 months ago they were speaking out against her and how awful she was.
Just looking for a reason to.
You could say, well, they had an epiphany. No, the things they were saying weren't things you change your mind on.
practice your regional Southern accents that you've been working on. Well, the DNC has a role for you. Now, they're not looking for actors, but they will pay you per diem, pay for meals and expenses, and fly you out, cover all travel as well. Now, for this non-role role, you will be an authentic Democrat supporter. Doesn't that sound lovely? Now, my favorite part about this is that they're super encouraging regional accents, regional Southern accents.
Yeah, it says regional Southern accents. People from the South, regional accents encouraged.
It's because they want the authenticity to show through, because nothing says authentic like being paid for your supporters. But these things are everywhere, and so many people are talking about them because this whole Astro-Turf movement that has been the Kamala HQ, Brat Girl Summer, coconut pill thing that's blown up.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Since the attempt on 45, the only reason that's been happening is because they're...
Here's another one. No union, per diem meals and transport, so they'll pay for all of your, flights and stuff.
The publicity in the press post attempt on 45 was too positive.
Here's the Democratic event. This one I think was for the DNC. Any gender, any ethnicity, accents,
they needed to switch the narrative. Did a wonderful job doing that. For inbox, right?
Yeah, here's more casting networks for another event. Here's another event, another event, another event, another event. These are all to the same person, and they're getting them for event after event after event after event. They are doing it for everything. They are desperate. Here's another one. Another non-union per diem meals and transport. People from the South, regional actions encouraged. Singles, groups, or families. Democratic event.
One candidate can fill up stadiums and probably could charge a cover and people would still show up.
If Trump charged to cover, he would literally still everyone would still show up. It doesn't matter. And the ones who couldn't afford it, I'm sure he would just let it anyways. And Kamala literally charges a cover. It doesn't work. So she pays people now to come to her events and buses them in from across the country, pays for their transport and meals. So your tax dollars, I'm guessing, because she's vice president and she's also corrupt, are being used on this crap, unless she's only using campaign funds. And it seems kind of odd that even super PACs, even people supporting her with money, it doesn't make sense that they would want to pay for thousands of flights and meals and hotels. It just seems illogical, and it seems odd. Like, if I was some big donor, I would never do all of that. I was like, if you have to do all of this just to fake support, I'm not wasting my money on you, because you have to fake support. They don't actually support you. They don't like you enough to come to your event. They may say they vote for you, but they don't like you enough to come to your event. That scares me. If I was a donor, I would say, no. I'm not putting my money in you because I can't trust that you'll win. I don't understand how she has any money. Kamala's Project 2020. That's what scares me, though. Is like they're going to cheat again. So Kamala's Project 2025, abolish ICE. These are all things she has openly said, and many of which she still says, by the way. So abolishing ICE. She said she wanted to restructure the entire border patrol and come up with a new system for the border as well. Opening the border, defunding the police. Said she wanted to restructure the police and how we police people in general. Releasing violent offenders. She did that. Eliminating middle-class tax cuts. She said she'd do that. Banning fracking. She said she did, and then she said she didn't. But we know that she's always lying and gaslighting, so she most likely still will do it. Just like every Democratic politician says, if you guys want this, I won't do it. I'll make sure I do what you want instead of what I wanted. I changed my mind. I believe in what you guys, the voters, want. And the second they get into office, they go back to their own beliefs and do what they wanted, not what the voter wanted. And when people complain, what can they do? Like, half the time when people get recalled, it never works. Look at Gavin Newsom. Ending fossil fuel usage. She said she wants to do confiscating guns from legal gun owners and forcing buybacks is actually what she said. Taking away the healthcare plans of hundreds of millions of Americans and forcing them onto single payer healthcare, which no one wants except for radicals. Taxpayer funded transgender surgeries. Not only that, but for illegal immigrants, for prisoners, and for minors. So that sound like a good plan for you? All right, we're going to start segueing into immigration right here.
CNN edited a video.
And here's some lies about Trump. Just the media lying to you. you know, how much you can trust them. So.
To make it appear as though Trump
they made it look, media had cut up this video and made it look like Trump just got impatient with the Chinese diplomat and just dumped the fish food into the pond and didn't want to wait. But that's not accurate at all.
patiently dumped a box of fish food into the water in Japan. The full video
Japan.
showed Trump had simply followed the lead of Japan's prime minister.
See, now he spoons it out, and then he sees him dump it, so he's like, oh, you dump it, I'll dump it too.
In June 2017,
2017, Putin was asked a question. The media lied, of course.
NBC News reported that Russian President Putin said he had compromised.
Yeah, so they said that the Russian president had compromising things on Donald Trump. Well, he openly said on the same interview that they said he claimed he said that, he said, no, that's nonsense.
Compromising information about Trump. Actually, Putin said the opposite.
Do you have something damaging on our president?
Well, this is just another load of nonsense.
He said, no, this is just a load of nonsense. Where would I get this information?
The New York Times and CNN.
Yep, the photos of Obama's border, and they said they were Trump's border cages, even though that they were Trump's kids in cages, even though it was Obama's kids in cages. They're from 2014.
Shared a story with photos of immigrant children in cages. It turns out the photos were from 2014 during the Obama administration.
Yep.
In November 2019, Newsweek falsely reported that President Trump was spending Thanksgiving golfing in Florida.
Wrong.
He was actually in Afghanistan serving dinner to U.S. troops.
Yep.
CBS aired a story in March of 2020 supposedly showing a New York hospital crowded with patients.
It's all hands on deck in America's hospitals.
It was actually file tape from Italy.
Okay,
a week later,
Italy,
CBS News mistakenly used the Italy video again.
Yep,
In
they always
May,
do
the
that kind of crap.
BBC and The Guardian reported because Trump wasn't wearing headsets, he didn't bother to listen to the translation of a speech by Italy's prime minister. But Trump was wearing his earpiece in his right ear, as always, said the White House. Newsweek reported Poland's first lady refused to shake Trump's hand, but later acknowledged she did.
Oh, right there. Boom. They just lie nonstop. That's all they do. And this just shows you how crappy the mainstream media is. How they don't owe us anything. They don't feel like they owe us anything, even though they owe us everything. We are their viewers. They owe us integrity. They owe us transparency, but they don't give a crap.
5%.
This is where we're going to segue into the border.
Of the population of Haiti.
I don't see the issue with that, though. Like,
Just to give you an idea, in spring, we have brought in 5% of the population of Haiti.
I don't see the issue with that, though. Like,
Just to give you an idea, in Springfield, Ohio, in one town, English as a second language speakers in one high school went from 250 to 1,500 kids in 2 years. They think America is just an open season for the rest of the world to come in here. We have a different belief. We have a belief that our founding fathers had, which is if your government does not fulfill its obligation to its own people first, its government is not legitimate. And that's what's happening right now. Our government is now providing taxpayer...
Look at this smirk just slowly leave his face. It's hilarious.
...funded cell phones, hotel rooms, benefits, airplane rides, cash for foreigners, but...
Almost to a frown.
Not for Americans. If you guys as an American citizen want a free cell phone, they'll laugh at you.
No.
As a foreigner from Venezuelan, you get one on the southern border. You get a flight to any city that you want. You get a luxury hotel in New York City. You get taxpayer-funded health care. That is the inversion. That is elevating somebody from a distant land over our own people. When our own kids can't afford homes, when our own people are seeing an increase in crime, homelessness, and we have over 50,000 homeless vets in this country. It's a breakdown of the social contract.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself. And I'm mixed race. My dad is Haitian and Greek. My mom is Jewish. My dad recognized the dangers of that society and the culture. Or that's what my granddad did, actually, and moved out before he had my dad with my Greek grandma. She was a missionary there. I mentioned that before in the past, if you guys don't know. So, yeah, I mean, how is it that he can recognize that culture is bad, say it's dangerous, the voodoo practice there is against God, the sacrificing and treatment of animals is horrific, and yet then when it happens in America, if you say anything about it, you're racist. Even black people and even people of Haitian descent who are saying, hey, this is wrong, this happens over there. It definitely happens. Don't say it's not happening in Ohio. It is. And they, oh, it's not happening, you're crazy. It's like, dude, we have experience with this. Why are you saying it's not happening? You've never been to Haiti. You've never seen Haitians. This is like insane. 90% of the car accidents in Ohio, in Springfield right now, 90% of them are by Haitian immigrants. And that's not a joke. That's a fact. That's literally from the police department.
I can tell you personally that when I worked at the grocery store, can tell you.
Yeah, this is so quiet. Sorry, guys. So it says, I'm guessing everyone shall see this to continue to pay their taxes because you live in fear.
Personally, that when I worked at the grocery store and I cashed.
Turn this up a bit. She works at the grocery store. She saw an illegal immigrant's paycheck.
Can tell you personally that when I worked at the grocery store and I cashed them out, the receipts were alarming. $13,000 on EBT food, not including the $29,000 that was on EBT cash.
$29,000 in cash. That means that they're getting 30 grand plus a month, or they're able to move the money from month to month. Just so you know, not a single American is allowed, at least in most states, is allowed to move the cash from month to month. Whenever I had food stamps, which I've had many times in my younger adult life, I never got above $300. The most I ever got was in Philadelphia for $300. Before that, the most I ever got was around $245 in Arizona. Food is cheaper there at the time, so it made sense. But at the time, that was more than enough money to get me a month's worth of groceries, by the way. That was more than enough. Today, no, not even close. Not even like barely 2 weeks. And out of all of that, I wasn't able to, if I say, hey, I don't want to spend any money this week, I have enough money with my own, I'm going to leave that money on my EBT card and then move it to next month. So I have $500. So 250 plus 250 or 240 plus 240, whatever, or 300 plus 300, you got 600. You can't do that. That doesn't exist in most states, to my knowledge, in any state. And yet somehow these illegal immigrants are able to move their cash from month to month. And that's never been done. Not only, it was never allowed with cash. So I've heard in a couple states they allow it with food stamps, but not with cash ever. So these people are they're either getting so much that it seems like they're doing that, or they're able to move it month to month. Either way, they're still getting 100 times more than any other American I've ever seen. 30 grand a month, 15, like the average, what I was hearing was $15,000 a month in food stamps and $5,000 to $6,000 a month in cash benefits and EBT cash. That was the most I was hearing of. Now I'm hearing doubles and triples that sometimes. It's insane.
It's infuriating. Yes, sir.
So they're not getting 600.
And while they're dressed very well, how are you able to dress like that? Coming over here as running for help that we're supposedly helping them? How are you dressed like that when we, the American people, are scrapping for the next set of work boots? That's a problem. That's a serious problem.
Yeah. I mean, just look at, there was in one of my other videos about the migrant, the video where it was, they're eating the pets one, about 4 or 5 videos ago. They actually interviewed some people on the street about a woman who had been applying to get food stamps. She had done it 3 times. I think she was on her 4th time. She had just said she applied again. And every single time she'd got denied for even a couple $100 a month. She got denied. And she had kids. Yet Haitian immigrants with no kids, with kids, whatever, they're getting it no matter what. And they're getting thousands upon thousands of dollars, while American citizens are getting turned down for even a couple $100. If you ask the government for a free cell phone, they'd say, you're crazy, go away. If you ask the government for $10,000 a month, they say, you're crazy, you need to work for that. Get the hell out of here. If you ask the government for free unlimited groceries for the next couple of years, they would say, you are crazy. We don't have those kind of resources. Get out of here. Somehow they don't have those resources for us. When we say, hey, we need this, we don't have those resources. Why do you have it for them then? If you don't have the resources for us, then why the hell are you pulling them out for them? Why is it even, somehow, if you don't have it, then it shouldn't even be possible to give them what you're giving them. It's insane. America is no longer America if Trump doesn't win. They've turned this country into something unrecognizable. It's no longer a country. It's a place where people can come and do whatever they want, regardless of the rules, regardless of our value systems, regardless of whatever. You don't have to acclimate to the culture, and you know, you don't have to assimilate, nothing. So 158 Dems voted against a bill to deport illegal immigrants who commit sex crimes. Just so you know, not only, like, why do you think they want to do this? Do you think it has anything to do with discrimination against illegal immigrants like they claim? No. If you think it's wrong to discriminate against sex offenders, there's something wrong with you. What is it that is so wrong with you that you think getting rid of the most dangerous people in society and sending them back to the country which they came from, where they came into ours illegally and then sexually assaulted our own people, our own citizens, somehow you say, no, they have diplomatic immunity, they can't go to jail here, and we can't send them back? That's disgusting. The people who've been getting arrested, the reason most of them are getting released is because they're claiming diplomatic immunity. It is insane. That's why no one's getting arrested for all the animals dying in Ohio, too. Because they're here on TPS, temporary, like something, like it's like, or something paroled, like leave or whatever. It's like where they release you into the country and they give you like a status. And you're, as that status, you are diplomatically immune to the laws of the US for the most part. And it is disgusting. And even like there are some states who are willing to prosecute no matter what, because it's the law. But because of the Biden administration's policies, these people are able to get away with things that American citizens would get thrown in prison for immediately.
The vice president of First Diversity drives a Maserati. He just recently spent $500,000 cash on a farm out by Enid. His wife owns.
This is from Wall Street Apes, by the way, on Twitter. Grab Your Gear made the video. Yeah, so this is a one of the like kind of city council members, I think. Let me see. So the vice president of diversity in Ohio, in Springfield, Ohio, and is using NGOs to funnel money into the community, while the filthy rich are basically using the migrants to up their own, because they own property, they own like real estate, and so they're using them to get money directly from the government. They're basically, it's all illegal. They're using illegal immigrants to raise the prices of the rent by flexing society or flexing communities with immigrants, just overfilling them and raising the cost of living because people are moving there more. And then they use the illegal immigrants who get automatic free rent from the government and cash assistance and all this crap. Since they know they'll get paid, they can up the cost of rent again, and they can make sure they never have a missed rent check. And so they're getting all this extra money, and they're using this to enrich themselves while also increasing illegal immigration and disenfranchising their local citizens, the local Americans.
Owns a bakery across the street from, or they just bought a.
Yeah, I mean, basically that covers it. I'll get to the next one. This one's not too important. Another one from Wall Street.
Giving them jobs as law enforcement officers. That is why I had to drop a bill last week, the Citizen-Only Policing Act, because they are now allowing people under these programs to serve as gun-carrying sworn officers of the law. Keep in mind, these people are in the country illegally, and that is what is so crazy to me. And another fine point to put on this that everyone should be upset about is that collectively, we spend $42 billion of taxpayer money every single year on people in this country who have been brought in through the Harris-Biden regime or have crossed the border illegally. Yep. So, as a comparison, homeless veterans only get $3 billion.
They spend more in a single day on frivolous bureaucratic spending than they do in an entire year on the American veterans. And Kamala Harris has no plans to stop any of that frivolous spending. So yeah, just the other day, I wanted to show you guys this. Trump being on Greg Gutfeld had the largest audience in program history with over 5 million viewers. I thought that was awesome. Now we're going to get into some gender insanity. All righty, guys. There's some Johnny Bell on Twitter.
Do you guys also have an age for maybe when hormone blockers would be permissible?
Any age, really. Those can be stopped at any time. For hormone blockers, again, that's nothing that doesn't really have any negative effects.
I'm sorry, what? Look at you. the negative effects is that, along with osteoporosis, damage to the frontal cortex of the brain, stunting of brain development, joint issues, destruction of liver and kidneys, complications with surgeries if you do that later, which are deadly, especially if you're a woman going to a fake man. The phalloplasty is literally like massively 60% chance of severe complications and a large percentage chance of death even eventually. And like if you look at Scott, I think it's Scott Adams, or Scott, I don't know, just look up Scott transgender man Scott or whatever, transgender man Scott. That person's story is so harrowing and awful. It is truly disturbing. And they did this as an adult and it still damaged them that much. Children, I know a 13-year-old girl, one of my friend's daughters, one of them in California, one of my friends, his daughter was forcibly transitioned behind his back, basically by her mother, or his son, was forcibly transitioned. Now this child is only 13 years old and already has osteoporosis due to the treatments and hormones and crap they've been on. And no, it happened to a girl as well in California. The story went viral in Northern California, I think this was though. It's insane. It has so many, and it's impossible to pause puberty. You can do it simply if you use the drugs properly, which for precocious puberty you can, meaning you do intermittent stints of the drug. So you'll take the hormone blockers and you put the child on them for 6 weeks or 4 weeks, and then you take them off them for 6 or 4 weeks, and then you put them on them for 6 or 4 weeks, and you do this for however many years you feel is necessary until puberty coming about is more natural. So if they started going through puberty at 8, it's kind of natural for your child to go through puberty at almost 11 years old. So you can take them off of it after less than just under 2 years. And what you'll do is you'll go back and forth on stints and you won't ever give them it consistently. If you give what they're doing with these children when they do hormone blockers is they are giving them nonstop always until basically forever. And in most cases forever you're on these drugs, and you're on tons of other drugs too. There's people who have shown they have a basket, a little basket you might put some of your bath stuff in under your sink, like your products you don't use anymore. Little basket, little plastic one like that, filled with pills. I'm talking 40 or 50 prescriptions, creams, sprays, all kinds of stuff because of how bad that stuff is. There is no way to halt puberty or pause puberty. You can either halt it completely or you can let it go. You cannot pause puberty. You cannot undo the effects. And let's say you did take these drugs consistently for 2 years, 4 years, 10 years, 20 years. There is no going back at all. If you took them for 6 months, you might be able straight and you didn't take any breaks. You could probably reverse a good portion of those over the next 2 or 3 years. It would take you though. But there are still going to be everlasting side effects that because you didn't take it in the right intermittent sections. You didn't put them out in different, stints of time.
Blockers, right? There's no real negative impact of them, right? Because it just delays stuff. It doesn't
it doesn't just put a stop on it temporarily.
Prevent anything. Both of y'all said that hormone blockers don't have any negative impacts. I've heard otherwise. With any medication, there's some side effects, right? Like with Tylenol, there's side.
Yes, but Tylenol side effects don't cause you to go sterile. They don't cause you to die. They don't cause you to lose your genitals. They don't cause you to have osteoporosis. They don't cause you to do anything other than average side effects, which may be dehydration and the basic ones. But if you take it too much, if you take 20 Tylenol, there's a side effect with death maybe. If you took a whole bottle of Tylenol or an aneurysm possibly. But if you take it properly under the right terms, there's almost no side effects with Tylenol. And most drugs, if done properly, side effects are extremely rare. Whereas with puberty blockers and hormone blockers, there is no there's no side effects. There always is side effects. And the thing you want from the hormone blockers is the side effect. The sterilization, the shrinking of the puberty, the genitals, the loss of all sensation. You don't want that. That's a side effect that these children who are forced into this have to go through. Instead of doing this as an adult and then doing the treatments and still having some type of sensation down there, they go through these horrible treatments as children where they're indoctrinated into believing they know what they're talking about. They think they can give informed consent about something that most adults who've learned about this still aren't informed enough on. And yet you're giving it to them and taking all sensation away from their private parts, keeping them from reproducing, keeping them forever being able to feel something if they got married to someone, and shrinking their stuff so much that it's basically useless if they're a man. And if they're a woman, growing their, one piece so large, it becomes almost like they're the opposite sex. This is not fair to these children. It is not fair to even adults.
Side effects, right? But like you still give Tylenol to kids. There's some potential side effects with any medication, but it shouldn't prevent if somebody really wants that, because that stuff is like life-saving.
No, it's not life-saving. It's never been proven to be life-saving. And the longest-term studies show that actually suicidality increases after the happy honeymoon period of transness. After about a year and a half, trans suicide goes up. It never goes down after transitioning. It goes up from around 38% to around 43 to 46%. So you're increasing significantly. So instead, maybe you should focus on your own mental issues, which everyone in this world now has some type of mental issue. We all have some type of mental illness or depression, anxiety, whatever. So work on your own, work on your depression, work on your social, issues, work on your, whatever it is you have. And then maybe if you still feel the way that you do, then move on with it. Otherwise, don't. And especially if you're a child who automatically is in this society is suffering from all kinds of crap because of social media and everything else, don't just let them think that because of this thing and they feel different, that automatically means they're the opposite sex. Hell no, it's dangerous to do to someone. It's evil. It's straight up evil. I was groomed, sexually abused, and treated like crap. If I had grown up in today's society with all this gender crap, I would have tried to transition. I thought I was gay. I tried that. It wasn't. I figured out that just because you think a man is nice looking and attractive, oh, he's very attractive, he's very fit. I didn't understand that that didn't mean I didn't like wee-wee. And I forced myself into situations. I got groomed into situations. I was drugged and graped into situations that put myself in place and I put myself in the position to be abused by those people because I thought the people surrounding me were telling me I was gay because I thought, oh, that's an attractive man. That means you're gay. No, it doesn't. If you don't like wee-wee down there, you are not gay. I didn't understand that. They kept telling me, oh, you just need to experiment more. You need to find the right guy. You just need to find the right wee-wee, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't like it at all. And no matter how many times I told them, they just said, keep trying. That's grooming. That's what they're telling these kids. Hey, you feel like you're, a little different. You like wearing nail polish. That means you're probably a girl. Maybe you should try being transgender. Maybe you should try hormones. Maybe you should try this. Maybe, you can always go back if you don't want to. That's all lies. You can't go back. That's the issue. It's like what happened to me, but if I ended up doing those things and I never had the ability to go back, if I was born in today's society, I would have been victim to the crap that's going on now. And it makes me hurt so bad that I feel like I have to do something about it. And that's why I'm so passionate about this issue. Look at this lunatic saying, oh, I don't think it's gay for, my boyfriend to have sex with me and me to have sex with him. Ugh, are you kidding me? You have a penis. You are a man. The definition of gay is not gender or this or that. It literally is a person who is attracted to someone of the same, what is it? Sex, as in biological makeup, the sex. And if you were born a man, that means you are of male sex, of men, the sex of men. And that means that your boyfriend is having sex with a male, meaning he is gay. And just because you look like a woman doesn't mean anything. There are femboys. There are fairy queen queers who dress up in little skirts. And you see them all the time when I was raving, when I was younger. Like, people talk about how, sexuality has become more broad, less, it's wider, it's broader, it's less pinned down. That's bullshit. It's more labeled today than it ever has been in my life. Before, you could dress up, you could be gay and wear a little tutu to a rave and makeup and sparkles and glitter. No one would call you a woman. And if you identified as a woman and someone called you a man, you'd be like, hey, no problem. You got confused. That's just, it's a confusing time, whatever. But now they're entitled. They're narcissistic. They're insane. And we're supposed to placate them when they have never given us a chance to even get used to it. And I don't want to get used to it. And they say, and that's fine. Back in the day, you could say, I don't want to get used to it. I don't agree with your lifestyle. And they'd be like, hey, that's cool. As long as you don't force me to be your lifestyle. And the other guy would say, yeah, I won't force you. You don't force me. And boom, they'd even be friends. I have gay friends to this day. We agree to the same terms as people did back then. Yet no one else in the LGBT community, except for the sane gay people and some of the sane trans people like Blair, can admit to these things. And if you don't follow their narrative and agenda lockstep, you become a heretic and a bigot and a transphobe. It's bullshit.
Like a man, and I look like a woman.
No, you're not really.
How does that make a man?
Take off all this makeup and let's see what you look like. That's the real answer. You have man chest though.
Gay, because gay means they like a.
No, gay doesn't mean you like someone who looks like a woman. Let's go over that again. Look.
That make a man gay, because gay means they like a man.
No, gay means they like someone of the male sex. And you are a man, you have a penis, you are of the male sex, meaning he's gay.
You have a penis.
That's the
it's
last
not
thing
about
I'm with her for.
Yeah, you said you're not with her or him for because you're gay. Okay, well, or because they're a man.
I'm not saying that you, but you just said you like to be topped.
And he's saying, oh, you like, and now you like to be, poked in the bum. And he's like, oh,
that don't make me gay.
That don't make me gay. Getting screwed up the butt doesn't make you gay. Are you kidding me? Are you a lunatic? Are you stupid? That's the definition of gay. Having a man with a penis in your bung bung. That is gay.
What does
that
it
makes
make
you sexual.
No, that doesn't make you sexual.
Like
that makes you sexually gay. That makes you sexually attracted to male characteristics, to men.
Man, and I look like a woman.
Lunatics, dude. More of these lunatics dancing in front of toddlers who will be permanently scarred for life without them even knowing. And you could get the same effect. If you really wanted to show kids some dancing and funny dancing, you could bring a break dancer in bright clothing. You could bring a clown in and have him funny dance. You could have a mime in. But instead, you invite a drag queen in lingerie with fake boobs, stilettos, and a scary makeup and a wig to dance in front of your babies and toddlers. And all of this is because all of these young moms are narcissistic assholes who think they're being virtuous. As you can see, you don't see one black one. Yeah! All white and Hispanic and Native American women, because they are the ones who feel like they have to be virtuous. This bullshit. Disgusting. If I saw that, where is it? If I saw this when I was a child, I would have cried so bad. This is from the heretical liberal. This is disgusting. If you've seen these things at a park when I was a kid, or when even 10, 12 years ago, if you saw a person at a child's park making disgusting pictures of upskirts and they're a man and they're in children's clothing, showing their little panties and wearing schoolgirl outfits and mini skirts, this person would be immediately arrested, charged with indecent exposure, and be given a sex offender registry. Yet today, it's perfectly normal, even when there's children there. Are you crapping me? In Seattle, men walk around naked in front of children, and no one does anything. And anybody who asks gets told it's legal. What am I supposed to do? So we're now on to Israel. Beep, beep, boom. Yep. If you guys know what I'm talking about. Terrorist beepers of the Hezbollah and Houthis blew up. Over 2,800 Hezbollah terrorists and Houthi terrorist pagers were exploded because Israel found out that Hezbollah and some of the Houthis ordered pagers, not cell phones, and ordered them every couple months. And they were ordering them from a company that made them in Taiwan. So Israel had found that out after capturing a couple Hezbollah terrorists, or killing them wherever, and seeing the pagers. And they said, hey, you know, and one of them they eventually captured and got the information from about like, hey, why do you guys have these? When do you get them? Do you change them often? Got all the information they needed from a terrorist, and then called Taiwan in the company in Taiwan and said, hey, next time they order more of these, I want you to add this device in them, and it allows us to access the lithium ion battery and explode the beeper. And they said, hey, okay, I mean, yeah, we're allies, so I mean, we're down with that. And they signed an agreement. They did that. They traded some information with each other, and boom, Israel has access to pagers that were sent by Taiwan and armed with devices that activate the lithium ion battery into exploding. And people are saying they just did it to any beeper everywhere. All the beepers were vulnerable. No, it's not true. It's impossible for a beeper just to blow up by itself without some type of activation device inside that can cause it to explode. And it is hilarious now. Like, they're afraid of walkie-talkies, cell phones, beepers. It's so funny. There's so many videos making fun of it now, and it is hilarious. And they say, oh, everyone on Twitter's, oh, it's so bad, they killed innocent civilians. No, they didn't. They killed terrorists. And number two, if they were just a civilian, why did they have a Hezbollah or Houthi terrorists beeper on them? Because the beepers were made or were ordered by terrorist groups, sent to terrorist groups, and delivered amongst them by for terrorists. Somehow, it makes no sense that anybody other than they would have them. And they even made sure that all of them had been delivered to the proper people. And so once they found that out, then they took part in the plan to go forward with it, and they did. Yes, one kid died and one adult, or two innocent adults died and one child died. I'm sorry, that sucks. But that's the most precise attack ever in warfare history, other than an individual, rocket or missile killing one person and not hitting anybody else, or a sniper shooting one person at a time. This is the most precise. It's the most, let's put it this way. It's the most precise mass military attack to ever have happened in human history. And they're still complaining. They say, oh, indiscriminate bombing. Israel's doing indiscriminate bombing. What about proportionality? And we're like, okay, you want us to be more precise? Even though we're already precise, that people don't even realize that. Let's be more precise. Let's only attack beepers. Oh, Israel's attacking beepers and they're killing innocent people. Shut the hell up. Pick one. You can either have us be imprecise or precise. Like, let us know what's best for you.
I get so many comments of people saying, well, this didn't start on October 7th. Yeah, you're correct. Palestinian terrorism is nothing new.
Actually, it goes back to Arabic terrorism, which goes back all the way to 622 AD, when the first edict by Muhammad came out, and it said all Jewish boys in any land that was controlled by him and Islam was to be teenage Jewish boys had to be completely shaved of all pubic hair. I'm not joking. And this went on for 5 years, from 22 to 27, 622 to 627. And the edict said that if any teenage Jewish boy is found with any pubic hair on him, he is to be immediately executed by beheading. That's insane. During that same period of time, 3 major massacres happened against the Jewish people by Islam. Since then, there have been over 1,000 different massacres from 622 to now. Well over 1,000. You can find the lists online. If you want me to post them in a future video, let me know.
I remember talking to my friend that lives in Israel a few days after October 7th, and he had told me how when this first happened, he thought that it was just another day.
Yep.
Because it's very, very typical for Israelis to wake up to alerts saying that they need to find shelter because there's a barrage of rockets coming from one of their neighbors, right? That's just an average afternoon to them. So he didn't bat an eye at it. I want you to think about right now, living in your safe, privileged first world country, if you got an alert on your phone saying that you need to immediately seek shelter, you'd be freaking out. But to them, that's just another Tuesday, because it's nothing unusual for the terrorist groups that surround them to try to be killing Jewish people. Another great example right now is everybody's so pissed off over what happened in Lebanon, but you guys were silent when Hezbollah fired a rocket that killed 12 Israeli children at a playground. I remember other friends who are stationed in the north from the IDF sending me pictures and videos of the fact that the entirety of the north of Israel was on fire because Hezbollah was actually indiscriminately firing rockets towards them. But once again, you were silent, or you probably didn't even know about it because the news doesn't care to cover it when it's Jewish people under attack. You guys want them to sit there and you want them to be good victims, but they're done being victims. They're going to fight back whether you like it or not. So you could either be on this right side of history, or you could sit there and suck off terrorists. The decision is yours. It just might be a little bit.
Yeah, so many Iranian girls like her are with Israel, and it makes me so happy. If you look at the truly oppressed people of the world, or the indigenous groups of the world, whether it's the Persians in Iran, whether it's the Yazidis, whether it's the Armenians, whether it's the Maori, Aboriginal, Native American, all of these groups, these colonized, oppressed groups, they're all siding with Israel. You don't think that's a coincidence? Oh, I thought the Palestinians were the indigenous ones. Really? Because wouldn't it make sense that India, they were decolonized, but they took them years to do so at the exact same time, in the exact same year that we decolonized ourselves from Britain. They did it on amicable terms. We did it on get the hell out terms because they wanted to make sure we didn't get the state after Arabs declined the agreement that we were supposed to do. And they said, no, we don't want you to just have a state. And they said, nope, we're out. Get out. We're taking this land that you promised us. They can have their land if they want it. If not, whatever. You can go in that land. We're having it here.
Were offered a state which the Jews.
So multiple times the Arabs have been offered a state. Like I said, they were offered a state in 37? Let me see. She said
Arabs were offered a state which the Jews agreed to every single
Peel
time.
Commission.
So we have the 1936, the Peel Commission, where, and you were surprised about this, 80% of the land was offered to the Arabs.
80% of the land was offered to the Arabs. Then you had the UN partition plan, where around 60% of the land was offered to the Arabs. They denied it again. We said, okay, whatever, we're fine with that. And they said, nope. And then they attacked us and we declared independence. And then they attacked us even more because they attacked us after they declined it with smaller numbers. And then they after we declared independence, right after that, they attacked us with 5 Arab armies. We won by the grace of God, even though we were outnumbered 9-1 in people. And there was only 1 gun for every 3 Israeli fighters. That's how outgunned and outnumbered we were. And by the grace of God, they won. And then we offered them a state again, and we offered them an agreement where they could take land multiple times throughout the 70s. Never really came to fruition, even though there were multiple talks about it. Then in 2000, they were offered a lot more land. Well, actually, I'm just going to tell you this because she misses out a few things. Let me see. Where's the map she pulls up? There's a map she pulls up at one point. Come on. Are you kidding me? There's a map she pulls up at some point. What the hell? Where's the map? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Here, we'll do it this way. Here we go. All right, so here we go. All of this gray land right here, the West Bank, that was all still going to be part of the Muslim territory. All of Gaza plus all the way up to Ashkelon. And all the way from here, all the way down to here, all the way up to here, that would all be theirs. Oh, sorry, all the way up to the Dead Sea, actually, and then this part of the West Bank would not be theirs. It would go down to Bethlehem, and that's it. But Hebron and all these other Jewish places would still be part of Israel, just so they had access to the Dead Sea still. And then they would get all of this, all of that, and at the time, they would have even gotten some of this before Jordan took that. So they would have gotten all of that right there. And they would have had a huge state. So it would have been all of this. Bam. Huge. Nothing. They said, nope. Okay. And we said, okay, whatever. 2005, we offered them 98% of this, plus more of Gaza and some of this land down here. And they said, nope. And then they attacked us. And then every time we signed 6 peace agreements with them. And every single time, they attack within 24 to 36 hours. Sometimes immediately after the agreement is signed. Like less than an hour later, they take out rocket attacks and bombings. It is insane. How are we supposed to trust people that can't even do something simple like that? And these students are just useful idiots for these people, attacking their own country for a country that would not help them if they were bleeding on the side of the road with $100 bill around their neck. They would not do anything for them. They would walk by and laugh at you and say, stupid wherever you're from country, stupid American, stupid Frenchman, stupid Chinese man, stupid whatever. It doesn't matter. They would laugh at you and take your money and walk off. They wouldn't help you if you offered them $500,000. And if they said they were going to, they would take your money, sign a little thing with you, and then kick you out immediately after or kill you. That's what these people do. They are trained to hate. And you college idiots who are writing Israel bombs USA pays, blah, 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 on a Navy ROTC building at your own school that you pay for, you are causing these schools to go up in cost because you're damaging them, making it impossible for other kids who are younger than you to be able to afford to go to these schools. You also change the rules. You screw up the campus. You make everyone jaded against these institutions. Why would you do that when you are the one abusing the system by getting tax-funded payer college to abuse this place and to use it for your own benefit while shitting on the very country that gave you those benefits? Disgusting. There should be no country's flag flown on a flagpole unless the American flag is above it. Like, I have no problem. Like at my house, like we had one up for a little bit, an Israeli flag, and it was smaller and below the American flag. I would never put an Israeli flag above an American flag or even have it be the same size as an American flag that I have up. It must be smaller and below the American flag. Not only did they take down the American flag, but they put up a large Palestinian flag. That is disrespectful and disgusting. And I'm guessing they stomped on it instead of taking it down properly, saluting it, or with your hand on your heart and doing that while someone took it down properly and then folded it up and put it down. It's disgusting. So this is Owen Jones, a loser on Twitter like Jackson Hinkle, Suleiman Ahmed, Censored Men, Suppressed News, all those losers, Dr. Anastasia Maria Lupus, all those dumbasses, Pelham, Sarah Wilkinson, was it Ryan Rabazi or whatever, all those losers, low IQ idiots, said, look at this, Israel is blindfolded a Palestinian man and threw him off a roof. Oh my God, it's so awful. Okay, so out of context, it's ridiculous. And that's why the face you're showing isn't a person crying in sadness. This is someone laughing. That's the crying, laughing face. But you blurred the video enough to make it look like the sad face. Look, they're not kicking them off the building. They are moving them with the feet because this man had just been shooting at them and they wanted to make sure he had no explosives on him. Eventually, they have to move him to the edge. So a big kind of like grabber, not a bulldozer, but like one of those like big cat kind of things, whatever they're called, big cats or, bobcats or whatever, that kind of has one of those big scoopy arms. And it picks up the body so it can remove it from the property. Here's the actual truth. There's the guy shooting. See the water tank right there? See that water tank, that black water tank? Okay, keep your eyes out for the black water tank. He says a bulldozer. It's not a bulldozer. It's the one with the arm thingy. See, the guy has an automatic rifle. They shoot him. He goes down. And I'm going to have to blur this, but yeah. So there's the two guys right there. And here's the truth. Oh, here's what they do to people. They throw them off roofs. See? I'm going to have to skip through this because I can't have have what's going on being shown without blurring a whole bunch of it. So they throw them off roofs and beat them and stomp on them and drag them. And yeah. These are all Hamas things. Yep. Can't show more of this without going. Oh, wait, hold on. Where's the part where they scoop the body? There it is, right there. Okay, see this? Water tank right there. Is this not the exact same thing? Water tank right there. See? Water tank, corner. Let's see. Yep, water tank, corner, water tank, corner. Boom. Same thing. They are there to pick up the bodies. That's it. They're being moved and evacuated from the area. That's it. Sadly, that's just who they are, and I don't think it's going to get any better. But yeah, alrighty. That's going to be it for today, guys. Don't forget to go down there, smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and do not forget to share this video if you like it. Don't forget to come back for more. We just hit 5,000, was 300 something. Make sure we keep going. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, guys. It really helps. All right, you guys, thank you for watching. Come back for more. We'll catch you in the next one. Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom.